The Warriors are now forced into a major move. As anyone that watches the team knows, this team is very imbalanced. Loaded up at the guard, small out there on their front line, and this only got exaggerated with the signing this week of Seth Curry and the imminent return of DeAnthony Melton. However, there's even one more development that is going to force Golden State into making one of these trades ahead of Jonathan Kuminga's trade availability. I'm saying we can't wait until mid-January to make one of these moves. The Warriors are going to be forced to do something very, very soon. So we're going to break down why that is the case, the truth behind the situation, and what's really going on. Because yesterday we broke down the signing of Seth Curry, who a lot of people are very excited about, and they very much should be. Because, Seth Curry, right, a guy that's been linked to the Warriors for a long time, with, of course, his brother being here. But news came out from Shams Charania. The Warriors are planning to re-sign Seth Curry on Monday. So that should become official today. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the league. This is something that we expected this entire offseason. And we covered it yesterday as well. DeAnthony Melton should be making his return very, very soon, as he underwent surgery for his torn left ACL on December 4th, 2024, and continues to make good progress in his rehabilitation. He fully participated in practice in recent days and continues to scrimmage in various settings. He'll not play the remainder of the current homestand, but as expected, he could be activated during some point of the team's road trip next week. So DeAnthony Melton should be in the lineup this week. Seth Curry obviously is getting signed this week. The Warriors are getting more and more loaded at the guard spot, and this team is already really guard heavy, right? Of course, Steph Curry's your best player. Jimmy Butler's a forward, but is a smaller, forward. Jonathan Kuminga's a forward. He's back in action now, but then you have Podziemski, Moody, you have Buddy Hield getting a ton of minutes out there on this team. GP2 just had a big game. A lot of the effective players out here on Golden State play that guard position, and even Will Richard, who had a little bit of an injury scare against the Pelicans. Hopefully he should be fine, but Spencer, you have so many guys out here on this roster that are quality, solid out there NBA players, but you don't have anyone at that big man spot you can really rely upon. Of course, QP can knock down the three-point shot at the center spot. Al Horford, when he's healthy, when he's playing, you hope you can get something out of him that he showed for the Celtics last season. Draymond Green, still one of the best defenders in the league, but it's up and down on offense. The Warriors desperately need to make an adjustment, make a move out there at the guard spot. That was my argument this weekend. We already covered this stuff in videos. What is this thing that is going to force Mike Dunleavy into a move, into a transaction, even more so than this roster imbalance that is, the roster that's currently imbalanced, you're bringing in two more guards. What is going to really force his hand and give the Warriors no other option? Well, when you have a prospect out there that you've brought in out there the offseason, you bring into your system and you have a good look at them, because a lot of people ignore the players that are out there in the G League, the rising players that you have out there in your organization. When one player is playing so well, so dominant, and they are proving to be an NBA player, you have to make some decisions on them before another team scoops them up. And the Warriors are very much in that situation right now with LJ Cryer, who is a guy that we saw in the offseason, and he was one of those free agent guys, and basically former Houston Cougar All-American guard LJ Cryer's joining the Golden State Warriors per source is an Exhibit 10 deal. Averaged 15.6 points per game, 42% in the college, and the Lakers, the Raptors, and the Wizards were also in the mix for one of the top shooters in college basketball. So we got to see LJ Cryer out there in preseason over the course of training camp, and he made a lot of people fall in love with him in that era because, in college, he was very, very effective. He was very good out there at, college, out there for Houston as well as Baylor. But, in those seasons, again, as Shams put it out, 16 points per game. It wasn't much of like a facilitator or anything like that, but this guy is an absolute marksman. He knocks down shots, he knocks down threes at an elite rate, and of course, Golden State, we love our effective three-point shooters, and he was dominant in those areas out there in college. And over the course of preseason, he also showed some very encouraging stuff, for this group. You take a look at his game log out there during preseason, some games, not a lot of run-out opportunities, but he did explode from the three-point line in those other actions, against the Blazers, against the Lakers, big games. I believe it was the Lakers game they made the comeback, or the Blazers. One of these, he led a crazy comeback, and had some comments that had a lot of people excited. I'm just recapping all the stuff in preseason. Brought up, I know it's preseason, but I'm treating this like the real game because of all the limited opportunities. He was locked in, ready to go, whether he was knocking down shots, missing shots out there in preseason. It was very encouraging. But The Warriors, of course, end up making the decision, given the roster construction, especially the imbalance, that when they waived Seth Curry out there during the summer, or heading into the season, LJ Cryer was a part of that crop. They ended up cutting him, and he ended up joining the Santa Cruz Warriors. And this is where things got very interesting for LJ Cryer. He's been putting in a ton of work, and a guy that is such an elite shooter out there in college, a winner out there in college, a guy that, was, even though he wasn't drafted, just given his size and stuff, he's only 6'1", but he is a player that is continuing to prove, and frankly, proving to the entire NBA, not just the Golden State Warriors, the entire NBA, he is way too good out there for the G League. So, what's going on? What's taking a look? What is happening right now with LJ Cryer stats? Before we dive into that, I do want to remind people we have a subscriber goal of 15,000 subscribers we're trying to hit before Christmas. So make sure if you guys are enjoying the daily Warriors content, the twice-a-day Warriors content we have rolling out here on the channel, you guys hit that subscribe button. You guys crushed it yesterday on our start of our march towards that goal, and we want to hit that, ahead of this Christmas season. So hit that sub button if you're joined. I'll show you some love in the comments if you let me know that you are subscribed. But getting back to LJ Cryer, how is he doing out there with this organization, out there with this team? Why are we talking about him as an actual impact player for this group? Well, the reality is this dude has been dominant in his 7 games out there for Santa Cruz, and it has been fantastic to watch. The guy is averaging 24.3 points per game, shooting 44% from the field, but 41% from the three-point line. And again, this is the G League, so you're facing NBA level players and stuff. Basically, LJ Cryer is shooting 41% on 12 attempts per game. That's right. The guy is averaging 41% efficiency out 12 attempts per game in 7 games played. So your sample size is getting pretty solid there when you're taking that many shots per night. And, on top of it out there in the G League, because, we compared this to his college stats. He wasn't doing that much out there as a facilitator, wasn't doing that much as a rebounder. In the G League right now, he has improved these other aspects of his game, and he is looking dominant out there as a facilitator, rebounder, everything that you can ask for your guard out there on the court for the, for the Warriors G League team. And this is where Mike Dunleavy gets forced into some very difficult decisions. And because it's not a difficult decision at this point. You're forced into one of these moves because basically the Warriors are loaded out there these years, but a lot of inconsistencies happening at that guard spot, but guys that could net you some serious value out there on the open market. The Warriors are a team that are competitive in the Western Conference, and even with Steph Curry being injured for a stretch this year, you're the 8th seed, you can make a push. There's no reason we can't catch the Phoenix Suns, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Spurs with all their injuries. You can make a push to get out of that play-in mix, and, if you balance your roster and you come out and you get the wins, because the Warriors right now, you take a look at how the landscape's coming up. You do have a very tough game against the Oklahoma City Thunder this week, which of course, they're barely losing any games. They're 20-1 over the course of the season, but the Sixers, the Cavs, the Bulls, the Suns, the Magic, the Warriors have a golden opportunity right now to go on one of these pushes, and you can't really waste time. You can't waste time, especially with Steph Curry out and stuff, to go into this season or play out the start half of the season until Jonathan Kuminga is available for a trade with this completely imbalanced roster, especially when you have guys that are capable of playing the guard spot if you trade away these different players. And, you take a look at a guy like Buddy Hield, who's expected to be a very, he's getting minutes, like he's a key rotation piece out there on this team. And, 7.2 points per game. Of course, he has some nights where he's solid, but the efficiency has just been a nightmare out there for Buddy Hield this season. And he's not bringing you that much effectiveness out there on the defensive end. So those are some things that you have to take a look at. He's one of the least bottom third in terms of efficiency, field goal percentage, and three-point shooting percentage, which is not ideal out there for a guy that's supposed to be a knockdown shooter for your team. With, a guy that's shooting 41% on 12 attempts per game out there, the G League squad for you, it's really tough to, just keep this roster going as is. Of course, you can't throw, you can't throw Buddy Hield to the G League, make those swaps, make those replacements. You have to make some moves. You have to make some adjustments. And the way the Warriors have just been really rocked out there on, the glass, out there in the paint this season. You're forcing Draymond Green to play the center spot. Now, a lot of people will argue Steve Kerr will make that happen no matter who you actually have on this team, but you're the bottom third in the NBA out there in rebounds per game. You're out there, in the base, close to the bottom third and bottom half of the league in blocks per game. Your field goal percentage is low because you don't have a true big man that can get you some easy shots, some easy buckets out there for your team, and you're not even in the top half of the league really out there at 3-point percentage, which is rare for a Golden State Warriors squad. This is not the situation that you want to be in if you are a Warriors team, and you can't wait till Jonathan Kuminga's trade window opens up, which will be in January. You probably want to wait till the trade deadline when most teams are going to be active in one of these moves. You have to make one of these changes, and Mike Dunleavy is in a position where he has to figure this out here now and very, very fast. So let me know what you guys think about the Warriors making a trade. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Type Y for yes if you want to see the Warriors make a trade, package some of their guards to bring in a real true center on this team before the Kuminga window becomes available. Let me know yes in the comment section for Y, for the comment section yes, and for no. I'll respond to every comment. But I appreciate every single one of you. You are a real one if you made it this far. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see what Mike Dunleavy does in the coming weeks to really reload, rebalance this roster. I know the Warriors have gotten cold feet on certain moves in the past, so it's going to be crucial that they execute on something very, very soon. But you guys are the best. Appreciate every single one of you. I'm signing out. Cheers.